that picture. You're looking out to the sea.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
What are we on, Owen?
A boat.
Are we on a river cruise?
Yeah.
It looks like a candy cane now.
Daddy posing there for a selfie.
To boost morale for the students. So from left to right you can see the sculptures: William Shakespeare, Isaac Newton, Francis Bacon, John Milton, all engraved into the building to boost morale for the students. Unfortunately, it's no longer a school today, a great shame. That's an American bank now, JP Morgan. They are located in the old school on the left. We're just going through Blackfriars here. These are the Blackfriars bridges. These are going to be the lowest ones we go through today, and they're also the closest on the Thames. As we pass through the road bridge, you're going to see the new railway bridge coming into view very shortly. They've done a lot of work to this bridge ahead of us. They have turned it into the first station to span the river. So the platforms, they are above us. Now the reason they done all this work was for the 2012 Olympics. They thought everyone was going to rush to London to watch the Olympic Games. Unfortunately, they finished this bridge about 6 months ago. So just a little bit too late for the 2012 Olympics. As we exit the bridge, look up to the skyline on your left. You've got Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece. It's called St Paul's Cathedral. It's got the dome and the golden cross. Sir Christopher Wren, a very famous architect here in London. He built the 50 churches we've got and also the cathedral. St Paul stands at 365 feet tall. A very easy number to remember, 1 foot for every day of the year. Look above the dome, you can see the black metal railings. That's a viewing platform. You can go up there, you can look over London. Mind you, you've got to climb to the platform, 527 steps. But the views, they are well worth the walk. You can actually visit St Paul's Cathedral on a Sunday for free. You can go in London, just a brief safety announcement. Nothing to alarm you, just to let you know about the safety features on the boat. So this vessel, fully licensed, it's got the most up-to-date life-saving equipment. We've got life rings, life rafts and life jackets for all passengers. In the very unlikely event of an emergency, good luck to each and every one of you. Of course, that is a joke, ladies and gentlemen. If there is an emergency, remain calm, seated, take instruction from the crew. With regards to the tour today, we've got two options for you. The first option is the company's computer, which they provide us. It's a robot. It points the places out of interest in a very boring way. So that's option one. Or option two is that I'll stand here today, join you on the journey down the river, share with you my local knowledge of all the sites that you see, and provide you a live commentary on the tour. So just a show of hands for option one, the computer. Okay. Oh, we've got a crowd here, haven't we? Can you lot swim? Off you go. Or option two, the live commentary. Unanimous, perfect. Now bear in mind, we're the crew here, we're not tour guides. If I get anything wrong, please bear with me. And we're going to start the tour ahead of the boat, the Charing Cross railway line. Said to be very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, if you wave to these people on the first bridge and you get a wave back, you're guaranteed 5 years of good luck. So go on, you wave like you never waved before. What a great way to start the tour. They should wave back. We do pay these people, they should wave back. That's Mary up there. Hello Mary. Lovely people. Did you get a wave back here?
Yeah.
Well, there's another bridge the other side, so go on, keep waving, keep smiling. We'll get their attention as we go through. And if you get a wave back from this bridge, it's 5 years of bad luck. Don't worry, you'll be fine. To the right there, the Royal Festival Hall, the last remaining building from the Festival of Great Britain. This was back in 1951. The finest acoustics are located in the building. That's why it's drawn in all the big acts over the years. Elton John, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, even Pavarotti all performed at that concert hall there to the right, the Royal Festival Hall. You can see the stone column there on your left with the two guards at the bottom. This is worth a photo, this, because this is London's oldest monument. It's called Cleopatra's Needle, said to be over 3,500 years old. That makes it older than London itself. It was given to us by a thankful Egyptian government for Nelson's victory over Napoleon and the French in the Battle of the Nile. There is a pair to that needle, and that stands in Central Park, New York City. So well worth a photo of London's oldest monument. There's a nice hotel there to the left as well. You can see the building with the green tiles on the top. That is the riverside entrance to the luxurious Savoy Hotel. The Savoy Hotel is a 5-star here in London. On average, a night in there will set you back about £500. Nice hotel on the left. Waterloo Road Bridge that we're passing through now. As we go through the bridge, you'll notice it's very dirty underneath. This is a self-cleansing stone on this bridge. When it rains in London, it gets a thorough wash. Now you can see the water, it doesn't penetrate underneath, but the face of it, a nice clean look. A very famous Portland stone. We've got a different kind of stone on that building there to the right with the electrical sign going across. That is called concrete, and that is this country's national theatre. That building has been voted the ugliest building on the banks of the River Thames every single year. Prince Charles, he said it looks like a nuclear power station been smuggled into London. But I'm sure you all get the same view, a very ugly building. Now you would have heard the saying though, do not judge a book by its cover, but it does apply to that building because within here, 3 of the finest auditoriums in the world. So that's our National Theatre on the right. We're going to stay to the right. You see the tall office building there with the low level ones in front of it, just behind the trees. These are called Kent House. They make up the ITV studios. This is where they film all the weekend shows, X Factor, Britain's Got Talent, Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway, all that rubbish, you know, all the ones we have to sit through, House Gentlemen, all comes out of these buildings here on your right hand side. There is a chance, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to today, there's a chance of getting on national TV. You probably wasn't aware of this as you joined the boat, but as we continue to the right, what you're going to see is a little white building at the end of the tree line. This is called Studio 8, and that is where they film all the daytime shows. This morning, Good Morning Britain, Loose Women, the ITV News. It all comes out of that little white building on the right. So when we get closer to it, if you want to get on national TV, because they use the river as a backdrop, just wave and smile at the building. If you're with someone that you're not meant to be with, probably have a look to the left. But if you're not too fussed, you wave and smile at Studio 8 there to your right hand side. You can see the vessel as we go past on the left hand side here. See the white one with the yellow funnel? Look to the stern of the vessel, there is an archway. That is called Temple Arch. That archway is a barrier line between two cities. The city of Westminster we're just about to leave, and the city of London, which we have now entered. The city of London, this was founded by the Romans. It's only 1 square mile. They used to call it Londinium back in the day. If you look on the road there, just over your shoulder, you can see the silver dragons on the road. They are put there to fend off evil spirits coming into the city of London itself. You'll notice quite a busy side of London here on the right hand side. This afternoon this will be absolutely packed, this shoreline. There's a Thames path these people are walking on. This Thames path, it starts at the London Eye and it goes all the way down to Tower Bridge. If you're looking for something to do this afternoon or maybe this evening, we recommend going on the path. It's only going to take you about 45 minutes to complete, but en route you're going to come across traditional pubs, traditional markets and street performers. They're all situated on the south bank of the Thames. You can see the Oxo Tower there to the right. That's where they used to manufacture and store the very famous Oxo gravy cube. No longer today though, they do it in Lancashire now, further up the country. The building has been converted into a shopping centre at the bottom. In the middle, luxury, unaffordable apartments. And on the top there, with a glass front, a Harvey Nichols restaurant. The restaurant has been voted in the top 5 in London. If you go over to your left hand side, you see the building with the green slanted roof. That is the Old City London School for Boys. Many of our greatest statesmen and prime ministers, they have been educated at that school. Some of those great scholars, they were engraved into the building as a place of execution and torture. You can see the boat's rocking around a little bit just because we made quite a sharp U-turn there, just so we can go back into London. So just hold on, just so we don't lose you over the side. So hold on as we go back into London. As we get closer to the Tower of London, look on the river wall, and very shortly you're going to see the words "Entry to the Traitors' Gate." It's coming into view very shortly on your right hand side. If you were found guilty of treason back in the day, you were rowed down the river from Parliament by a Thames waterman, just like us, but without the live commentary. You were taken into where it says Traitors' Gate, as mentioned, you'll see it soon. Up to the tower with the 4 turrets, you can see that. That is where your head, it would have been chopped off. If you were a celebrity, well, it didn't end there for you. Your head was dipped in a barrel top, placed on a spike, and then placed on London Bridge to warn off any wannabe traitors. If you haven't been to the Tower of London before, you make sure you go. Make sure you get a guided tour from one of the yeoman wardens. They live there, and there is not much they don't know about it. So you can see the words "Entry to the Traitors' Gate." So what we're going to do now, ladies and gentlemen, As I said, that was just a little added extra on your tour there. It doesn't usually open. We're going to be making our approach into Tower Bridge. So for your safety, once again, remain seated until we are safely alongside. As you saw when we turned the boat, it does rock around a little bit. We don't want to get anyone hurt on the boat, so remain seated if you can, please. This boat's next stop, well, we're going down to Greenwich. Greenwich through Tower Bridge, further down the river. If you want to go back to Westminster, where we started the tour, you leave the boat here, see the people in the red tops, they will direct you. But we are off to Greenwich. When we come alongside the pier, have a look around your arms and your feet. Make sure you've got all your personal belongings. Last of all, did we all enjoy the live commentary on the way down the river? That was a little added extra, wasn't it? God. That's going to open again about 6 o'clock, so if you're in this vicinity later, you can see the bridge. About halfway on our journey. Is everyone enjoying the live commentary?
Yeah.
Cool. Can you all hear me okay at the back? Yeah, nice and clear? Perfect. I am trying to speak a bit slower, a little bit clearer. I know not everyone is from London here today. Quite a few people from Europe as well. So hopefully you can understand a few words I'm saying. As we go through Southwark, we're going to look to the right-hand side, and look in the corner there. There is a old traditional pub. The pub is called the Anchor Tavern at Bankside, and it was founded in 1615. So that makes that pub just over 400 years old. They have produced some films in the pub before. James Bond, Mission Impossible, Getting Him to the Greek. They were filmed in that pub on the rates. Me and my friend the captain, who is driving the boat, we spend a lot of time in that pub. We visit that pub after work every single night. We do research in the pub, and we research the commentary which we provide you all. Now it does take hours and hours, but it is all for your benefit, a nice place for research. We're just going to approach now to Cannon Street Railway Bridge. As we go close to Cannon Street, if you look down onto the river itself, you'll see how fast the tide is moving. The tide at the moment here in London is coming in from the North Sea. So that means it's flooding London. It's going to take 5 hours to do this. Once it's finished flooding, it will turn and it's going to leave London on an ebb tide for 7 hours. We've got a rise and fall here on the River Thames of around 6 to 8 metres. If you look on the river wall either side, you can see the green moss line there. Well, that's your average high water mark, around 6.5 metres. There's one for the children here on the right, so you can see the pirate ship in the dock there. That is Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind, the first Englishman to sail a ship around the world. The one you see in the dock, well, that's in fully working order. It's been sailed twice around the globe. As mentioned, one for the children here. They can go on the pirate ship, they can run around, knacker themselves out, whilst the adults, they sit in the pub next door. They call this in London a traditional family day out, free of charge to go on the Golden Hind. Can anyone see the bridge in front of us here? Does anyone know the name of the bridge there? Everyone gets this confused with the next bridge. This is called London Bridge, the most historic one we go through today. It's the 5th one to span this part of the Thames over 2,000 years. The bridge before this, the 4th one, it was sinking into the mud. They took it down bit by bit, they sold it to an American man. His name was Robert McCulloch. What he done with the bridge is he shipped it over to America. He had it rebuilt, Lake Havasu in Arizona. It stands there in America today, a tourist attraction. Now the captain has just told me, ladies and gentlemen, that you couldn't have come on this boat at a better time, because Tower Bridge shortly is going to open up. We do hear that the captain has just alerted the bridge keeper at the Tower Bridge. They're going to open the bridge very shortly. You'll see it just before we give you that little bit of extra information on the tour. I'm actually going to go through it. There we go, a little bit of added extra on your tour. We'll go through the bridge. Before we get to the bridge, don't just hold your excitement back, because I know you're probably very excited, as I am. I've never seen it open before. Look up to the right there. You've got the Shard of Glass. Stands just over 1,000 feet tall. On the 72nd floor of the Shard, there is a viewing platform. You can see 40 miles in all directions on a clear day from the Shard of Glass. When it opened in the year 2012, £5 a ticket. Today, it's £40. It's far too expensive. That's why we tell you to go to that building on the left there. It looks like a walkie-talkie with a glass top, 20 Fenchurch Street. That's home to the world's largest Sky Garden. The great thing about the Sky Garden, it is free to go up there. All you've got to do is book your place on the website, skygarden.com. You can visit there free of charge. You're going to get the same views as you would from the Shard. So save your £40, go and do a bit of research at the Sky Garden. So there's the bridge lift in front of us. We're going to push the boat on a little bit. You can see the sailing vessel, the wheel, is going through the bridge. So you make sure you get a nice photo as we go through.
I can see it.
Are we gonna turn the boat from, Captain, when we get down there? Or we're gonna follow the wheel through? Would you like that? We follow them through the bridge? Lovely. Doesn't open as much these days. Used to open every day about 1,000 times. The bridge, very few and far between that it opens now. So make sure you got your cameras out. A nice photo opportunity. Now the bit that's opening, well, that's the bascule section. Bascule is French for seesaw. So that bridge will open at a 90-degree angle in around about 90 seconds. And it allows those larger vessels in and out of London. I would tell you there is a website to see the bridge open up, but you don't need to know that now, because the bridge in front of us has a nice opening for you today. It's a beautiful bridge, isn't it? Lovely bridge. As I say, it hasn't opened at all this week, so you're very lucky today. That sailing vessel that you see there, that's going down to the Thames Barrier. They do clay pigeon shooting off there. They go down to the Thames Barrier, do a bit of shooting. Around £5,000 to hire the sailing barge wheel that you see in front of the boat. So we're going to go through, and then we're going to turn the boat. You're also going to get a nice photo as we turn. The bridge was actually completed 1894, was designed by Sir John Wolfe Barrett. We mentioned the bascule section, that's the middle. Either side, you've got the suspension sections. And on top, ladies and gentlemen, you've got a museum today. As we go through the bridge, if you look up, you'll see a glass floor. You can go up there, you walk up the bridge there, you can look down onto the River Thames, the museum part of the bridge. Don't worry, it won't close on top of us. You'll be fine. Just hold your own. Beautiful. Wave to the people up there. Look, they're all stuck in traffic now. Give them a wave. Make sure they don't jump in the river. Hello up there. Lovely people. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, ladies and gentlemen. You wave to someone from a boat, they tend to wave back. I wouldn't recommend doing it in your car. They think you're nuts. But on a boat, it works. Look behind you there, look, what a photo. Looking back into London. Beautiful. You can see the bridge is built in the Gothic style there. If you took all the stones off Tower Bridge, well, it's going to work completely normal. The reason it's got that decoration to it is so that it blends in with the Tower of London. Is anyone going to the Tower of London today? Anyone been to the Tower before you go into the Tower? And so you should. This castle, which is going to be on our rights very shortly, absolutely steeped in history. Originally built for William the Conqueror back in 1070, the Tower of London has been a few things in its time before. It's been a zoo, it's been a royal mint, an observatory and a prison. Most famously known, and tell you a little bit about it. Hopefully help you with things to do in Greenwich today. So thanks very much for your kind attention for now. We're going to speak to you in about. They've all been converted now, which is a great shame, but at least some of them have kept the character. They still got the cranes attached. If you look on top of the warehouses, the words New Crane Wharf and Metropolitan Wharf. Well, the word wharf is an old Anglo-Saxon acronym, and it means warehouse at riverfront. Yeah, it doesn't really, ladies and gentlemen. I just made that up, as this lady at the front has just pointed out. It took me 7 years to make that up. The actual word wharf, it means pier or quay, very close to the warehouse. If you follow these warehouses down, you can see coming to view now the little white building with the willow tree in the garden. This is the oldest pub on the tidal Thames, and it is called the Prospect of Whitby, and it was founded in 1510. They used to have a different name, that pub. They used to call it the Pelican, and a nickname as the Devil's Tavern. The pub on the left, it used to attract all the criminals of London. So all those unsightly people, the murderers, the thieves, ladies of the night, they used to drink in that pub. Not much has changed today, because the pub, it still attracts criminals, but slightly different ones now. It now attracts estate agents and politicians, the new criminals of London today. Look behind the pub here, this area to your left, this is called Whitechapel. Made very famous Whitechapel by Jack the Ripper. Done the terrible murders back in the day to all those young women. He operated in Whitechapel. You can see the Royal London Hospital there. It's got the helicopter on the top. That is home to the London Air Ambulance. Next door to Whitechapel, well, it's only a small place, we now enter Bethnal Green. Bethnal Green in the East End of London, very famous for the Cray twins, Ronnie and Reggie Cray. They dominated this area on your left, the East End of London. We mentioned there is another tideway site there to the left, just come into view now, the King Edward Memorial Park. So what we are doing, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually upgrading our sewage system. The old system was built for 2 million people. In London today, we got around 10 million people. So that's why they're upgrading the sewage system. This is a 10-year project. It's going to cost in the region of £5 billion to create. They're laying a big pipe under the river. It runs all the way from Putney, which is further up the river behind us, and it goes all the way down the river ahead of us to a place called Essex. A huge civil engineering project in the heart of London. Look at that funny shaped building there to the left. It looks like it's been put together by a couple of 5-year-olds with a Lego set. That building is called Free Trade Wharf. The architect of that building, a very clever man. Every single one of those apartments, they've got a river view. If you've got a river view from your apartment in London, the price, it does go up. So maximum profit has been made from Free Trade Wharf. We spoke a lot about apartments. They're all apartments on the right hand side as well. They look like houses, but they're not. They're just apartments there. There is a house though, and that's on your left. Only one house you'll see today. It's got the two large trees in the garden and the black conservatory on the top. It is called Sun Wharf, and it used to be owned by a very famous film director. His name was Sir David Lee. He directed the films Lawrence of Arabia, Passage to India, Dr. Zhivago. That house, we did see it on the website just a few years ago. That's got 9 bedrooms, a 60-seat cinema, an upper level swimming pool, the black conservatory, and also the nice garden to go with it. And it's sold for £21 million. A nice house on the left there. You've got the Limehouse Marina entrance there to your left as well. Well, that's where you find the canal systems of the UK. You go in through Limehouse on your canal boat, you join the Regent's Canal, and then you go through a lock, and then you join the Grand Union Canal system. You can go as far up as places such as Birmingham, Manchester and Liverpool, all through the Limehouse Marina entrance. The canal systems through the entrance. There is another pub coming into view here on your left hand side. Probably the most famous pub we go past today. It's got the steps going down to the river. The pub is called The Grapes, made famous by Charles Dickens. He wrote his novels in here, Great Expectations and Our Mutual Friends. Today that pub is owned by Sir Ian McKellen. He's better known as Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings, so he owns that pub today. Now he lives very close to the pub, but we're not allowed to tell you where because he wrote a letter of complaint asking us to stop telling you guys where he lives. But what I can tell you is that he does like a few potted plants and he really enjoys a gold statue. He thoroughly enjoys a gold statue. If you can't see it, look to the left. You'll know exactly where Sir Ian McKellen, he lives today. You got the entrance to the dock there on the left as well. It's got the bridge going over it. That's Limekiln Dock. Now when that Great Fire hit back in 1666, it absolutely destroyed London. All the buildings, they were made out of wood, they burnt right down. They had to rebuild London, and they used the bricks created in the kilns in Limekiln Dock, there to your left hand side. We're going to be turning the boat to the right very shortly. We're going to go to starboard and we're going to go around Cockholes Point. That's the point here on the right. As we go around the point, look here to your left. The whole area that you see there, this is called Canary Wharf. A lot of people think Canary Wharf is just that one tower with the flashing light. That is known as 1 Canada Square. Canary Wharf, this is your business hub of London. It's where you got all your top banking firms, and every single day Canary Wharf, it hosts well over 200,000 bankers. An absolute terrible place to visit during the week, surrounded by 200,000 bankers. But if you go there at a weekend, today or tomorrow, it's lovely because you've got nice shopping centres here, you've got restaurants and bars, all nice and quiet within Canary Wharf. You can see that large building there, that's just been finished now with the windows open. That is the largest residential building in Europe, and it is called Landmark Pinnacle. All the levels you see with the windows open, they are luxurious apartments. A huge building in Europe, the tallest building in Europe today, residential. You may have seen a programme on the BBC. It's a very intelligent programme. They call it EastEnders. On the first scene of EastEnders, you may have noticed there is a map of the River Thames. You might have even noticed a horseshoe in the river. If you have noticed that horseshoe, well, this is where it starts. So it goes right from here, it goes round Canary Wharf and the Isle of Dogs, it goes past Greenwich, and it comes back on itself. So if you took all those buildings away on your left hand side, you're going to see the O2 Arena, a big horseshoe in the River Thames. We're looking to the right hand side, and we have a quick look to your left hand side. And what you're going to start to realise, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is nothing to talk about. All there is on this stretch of the Thames is probably what you already know. These are luxury apartments, and I don't own a single one of them. Now, because we are fighting the incoming tide from the North Sea, we're going at quite a slow pace. We're going to give you a break, just for about 10 minutes. Once we have Greenwich in sight, which is on the next bend there, Saunders Nest, once we get that in sight, we're going to jump back on the microphone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to the new passengers who just joined us at Tower Pier. Just for the benefit of those passengers, a brief safety announcement, just to let you know the boat's fully licensed as the most up-to-date life-saving equipment. Life rings, life rafts and life jackets. The crew fully trained to deal with all emergencies. Now what I was doing with the previous people who remained on the boat at Tower Pier was pointing out places of interest down the river with a live commentary. And I shall continue now pointing out places as we make our way down to Greenwich. Now we're leaving London behind us. The bridge is known as the gateway to London. We're now entering what was the Docklands of London. So this was your commercial side to the city. So we're going to see a lot of warehouses, a few dock entrances, but there is a bit of American history on this tour as well. We'll start to the right there. You can see the words on the top, Butler's Wharf. These were tea warehouses back in the day. They stored tea from all around the world. When you get down to Greenwich, you're going to see a sailing vessel called the Cutty Sark, a very fast tea clipper. She would have raced here years ago to get the best price for the tea. Due to her sheer speed, well, she won the race every single time. So these were tea warehouses. They've all been now transformed into luxurious apartments. We're going to stay to the right, and very shortly on the right you're going to see a dock entrance. This is the dock head of Bermondsey. So keep your attention to the right. You'll see a gap between the warehouses. It's known as St Saviour's Dock. If you've seen the film Oliver, the musical,
Yes.
well, one of the scenes was filmed in here. It's where Fagin, he drops the jewels into the sticky mud on Jacob's Island. You can see the entrance now. It's got the scaffolding at the front. There's also been a James Bond film produced in the dock entrance. The World Is Not Enough. He's on a speedboat. He goes in through that dock and he somehow comes out at Greenwich. Now this is completely impossible just because Greenwich is about 4 miles in front of the boats, but that's just the joys of the move. St Saviour's Dock on the right. Look here to your left hand side, you'll see the 3 glass buildings. They look very similar to each other. The architects in London, they always design with a theme, and it never works. Because these 3 glass buildings on your left, they are meant to resemble 3 French soldiers marching. I know. Have a look again at the buildings. Maybe squint your eyes a little bit. What you're going to start to realise is they look nothing like that whatsoever. Now to me, they kind of look like a ship, and being next to the Thames would blend in very nicely. Again, very expensive apartments. These are known as Hermitage Wharf, there to your left hand side. You can see also on your left hand side, you can see the building come into view. The people on the right might struggle to see it, but you can see it, it reads Oliver's Wharf. Oliver's Wharf was one of the first converted warehouses into luxurious apartments, and many famous people have lived at Oliver's Wharf. People such as Dame Helen Mirren, the actress and the singer Cher, Graham Norton, Robert De Niro. They've all lived Oliver's Wharf there to your left. This area to your right here, this is Bermondsey. You can see a lot of works going on here at Thames at the moment. There is another site, and as we go down the river, I'll explain exactly what they're doing. A civil engineering project in the heart of London as we speak. You can also see to your left hand side very shortly, so there's Oliver's Wharf there. If we continue to the left, you can see the building with the blue top. This is the Wapping Marine Police. The Wapping Marine Police are the oldest uniformed police in the world today. They were put into action to deal with pirates. Pirates back in the day on this stretch of the Thames, they were absolutely rife. You saw the sailing barge Will. Well, that's how cargo, it used to come into London years ago. The pirates, they used to steal the cargo from the sailing vessels. They had to put a stop to it. They put the police force into action, and they did stop the pirates from stealing the cargo. If you were found guilty of stealing back in the day from those pirates, well, you were taken to Execution Dock. You can see the building there with the 3 red balconies and the letter E. So that's called Execution Dock. As I mentioned, if you were found guilty, you were hung from the river wall on a low tide, and then 3 tides would pass over your head until you were confirmed dead. They called this torture the Grace of Wapping. The reason it's got that name, the area to your left is called Wapping. The man who sentenced the pirates to that death was the hanging judge, Judge Jeffreys. They used to sit on that pub on the right hand side. You see the Angel pub there? They used to sit on the balcony there and watch the torture happen at the Grace of Wapping. As we go round the bend in the river, which is called Wapping Ness, one of those very famous pirates was called Captain William Kidd. You'll see a pub named after him very shortly on your left hand side. Pirates rife in this section. We're leaving Bermondsey on the right now. We're now entering Rotherhithe. Rotherhithe's an old English word. It means river haven, a very safe place. I mentioned there's a bit of American history on this part of the tour. Well, it's just there to your right hand side. You see that church spire there? That is called St Mary's Church. Buried within the crypt of the church, a very famous sea captain. His name was Captain Christopher Jones. He was the skipper of the pilgrim ship, the Mayflower. Now the story does go that he took the Pilgrim Fathers from London. They made a quick stop at Plymouth near Cornwall, and then they went on to the Promised Land, which we know as America today. You can see the stars and stripes. They are flying on the right hand side. They're flying from the back of a pub, and that pub is called the Mayflower, named after the pilgrim ship. When we get close to the pub, if you look on top of it, you're going to see a bronze weather vane, an exact replica of the very famous Mayflower ship. Bit of American history there to your right hand side. As we go past the pub, look here to your left hand side, lining the north shore of the river. As I mentioned, when we come through Tower Bridge, this was your docklands of London. So this was your commercial side to the city. All these warehouses years ago, they were absolutely full up with cargo. Most of the cargo was wool and tobacco, all stored in the buildings. This was such a busy side of London that you could have walked all the way from the north shore, which is on your left there, to the south shore on the right, over the sailing vessels tied up alongside each other, waiting to unload the cargo. Butler's brought tea in from China and wool from Australia. She still holds the record today from travelling all the way from Australia to London in the shortest amount of time, and that is down to the sheer speed she would be sailed. She would sail at 30 knots. Just to give you a comparison, this boat, it's got 2 great big engines on it, and its maximum speed is 12 knots, an incredible feat from the Cutty side. You can see the building in front of the boat as well, with the 2 large domes on the top. They were Sir Christopher Wren's practice domes before he created St Paul's Cathedral. They're known as the Old Naval College, so that's where we used to train and nurse our Royal Navy. Today it's home to the Greenwich Music University. As we go past the buildings on the right, look to the tree line. You can see the building with the ball and the teapiece. That's a timepiece, and it is home to the Royal Observatory. Every single day that ball will rise up the timepiece at 5 to 1, and it drops precisely at 1 o'clock. It's where we get GMT from, Greenwich Mean Time. Also at the top of the hill, Plumstead House, Meridian Line, 0 degrees longitude. It's where east it meets west. You've got the National Maritime Museum here as well. You can learn more intensively about the river you've travelled on today. Free of charge to go inside. Well worth a visit, National Maritime Museum. This is next door to the Queen's House. You can also go into the Queen's House as well. You've got Greenwich Market here, foods and flowers from around the world within the very famous Greenwich Market. Greenwich Park, just a 20-minute walk away from them. You can even walk under the River Thames if you want, because here at Greenwich you've got the see that building with the little green dome on the top? And that's the South Shore one. There's also one in the left hand, the North Shore. You can walk under the river. There's lots of things to do and see here at Greenwich. As mentioned, If you're looking to do a bit of research, this is really good place. We recommend the Trafalgar. That's just a little bit further down the river. And there's a nice blue creeks in the Trafalgar. If you're not too interested in the Trafalgar, there are 49 other pubs in York. So visit them all today. It has made some great places for you. This boat's going to go alongside the pier now, and we're going to leave here at Greenwich, back up to London at 12:30. 12:30 we go back up at London. There are boats all day today. The last one leaving Greenwich at 10 past. So you've got plenty of time to go and explore this World Heritage Site. When we come alongside the pier, just have a look around your arms and your feet and make sure you've got all your personal belongings.